Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Friday, August 18. Before we get into the news, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and friends.
Reach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. The Independent Commission of Investigations (INDECOM) and the Inspectorate of the Jamaica Constabulary Force are probing the circumstances surrounding the fatal shooting of a popular Montego Bay businessman along Knightsville Drive in St. Andrew on Thursday afternoon. The deceased has been identified as 29-year-old Orrin Wright of a Rose Gardens, Belvedere, St. Andrew address, who operated a Thug fashion store along Strand Street in downtown Montego Bay, St. James. Reports are that about 2:55 p.m., Wright got involved in a confrontation with the police and was fatally shot. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Dancehall icon Tiger, given name Norman Jackson, is now back in the care of his daughter after he was reported missing on Tuesday night after he reportedly wandered away from the family home in St. Andrew. Tiger was returned to her safely after he went missing for almost 4 days. The DJ was reportedly staying at the home of a Good Samaritan, Leonardo Reynolds, who gave him a room to sleep in after Tiger found himself marooned in Greenwich Farm. St. Catherine businessman Kenrick Ferguson, who allegedly used his licensed firearm to threaten a woman and her child, was today remanded and his matter transferred to the gun court. 51-year-old Ferguson of Glengough District appeared before the St. Catherine Parish Court on charges of unauthorized use of a firearm, using a firearm to commit a felony, assault at common law, and malicious destruction of property. He was remanded until September 18. Allegations are that on the 11th of August, the accused and the female complainant had a dispute. He allegedly brandished his licensed firearm and threatened the woman and her 10-year-old son. He also allegedly damaged the complainant's Toyota motor car. A report was made to the Glengough police and an investigation led to his arrest. Ferguson was formally charged following a question and answer session. 2 alleged gangsters were remanded today in the St. Catherine Parish Court on charges related to crimes committed in the Gregory Park area of Portmore. Philip Scott is on charges of murder and being part of a criminal organization. His co-accused Tyrese Taylor is charged with murder, unauthorized possession of ammunition, possession of a prohibited weapon, being part of a criminal organization, knowingly conspiring with a criminal organization, and illegal possession of a firearm. Taylor and Scott were remanded and were ordered to appear before the gun court on the 11th of September. The men were charged after being named as persons of interest by the police in connection to crimes in the Gregory Park area. A retired soldier was shot and killed on Friday morning in Old Harbour, St. Catherine. The deceased has been identified as 59-year-old Clifford Edwards, otherwise called Black Puss, of an Old Harbour Glades, St. Catherine address. Reports are that about 1 a.m., the former soldier was at his gate in the community when explosions were heard. He was found suffering from gunshot wounds by residents who went to investigate. The police were called to the scene. His licensed firearm, a Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol, was reportedly stolen by his attackers. Investigations into the shooting are ongoing. The Cave Valley Police in St. Ann have launched an investigation into a case of murder committed in the Coffee Ridge district. Dead is 55-year-old Errol Cameron of Coffee Ridge. Reports are that about 3 a.m., Cameron and 2 others, a man and a woman, were involved in a dispute, during which the parties hurled stones at each other. Cameron reportedly ran towards his house in the community. He was later found in his one-room premises with wounds. The Cave Valley Police were summoned and cops responded. Checks made by the police found Cameron's body on his bed with what appeared to be multiple stab wounds. A piece of concrete block was also seen beside the body. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is reporting a 13% increase in dengue cases since the start of the year. The figure is above that reported in 2021 and 2022. The ministry says with support from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, it has identified a total of 9 cases of type 2 dengue virus in Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Thomas, St. Catherine and Westmoreland. It says the presence of the type 2 virus heightens the island's risk for a possible outbreak. Type 2 dengue cases have not been seen in Jamaica's population since 2010. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says while there is an increase in dengue cases, Jamaica is not currently experiencing an outbreak. But increases do suggest that there is a greater threat that people need to be concerned about. And so, we are encouraging Jamaicans to take heed to protect themselves, he said. In business, the Planning Institute of Jamaica has reported that the prevalence of poverty in 2021 was estimated at 16.7%, a 5% increase over 2019. The Jamaica Survey of Living Conditions showed that rural areas recorded the highest rate of poverty with 22.1%, followed by other urban centers at 15.5% and the Greater Kingston metropolitan area at 10.4%. When compared with 2019, the prevalence of poverty in the Greater Kingston metropolitan area rose by 5.7 percentage points and in rural areas by 7.9 percentage points. It remained unchanged in other urban centers. Dr. Wayne Henry, Director General of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, said the COVID-19 pandemic negatively affected incomes. The poverty rate recorded in 2021 compared to 2019 reflected the adverse impact of the pandemic on household income and consumption and is in keeping with global and regional expectations and experiences. But he said this impact was tempered by positive movements in the macroeconomy as well as social interventions by the government and the private sector, as reflected in the improvement in real GDP and employment. Henry said the poverty rate is expected to decline given continued improvements in the economy. In sports, President of the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, Garth Gale, was unsuccessful in his attempt to become a World Athletics Council member following the 54th World Athletics Congress in Budapest, Hungary on Thursday. Gale and 4 other NACAC administrators were running for council member positions, but at the end of the voting process, Gale was the only one among the 5 that was not elected. He received only 86 votes. And on the entertainment scene, Shensi has earned her first US Gold certification. The recognition stems from a 2021 collab with Kanye West titled Pure Souls. The single was certified by the Recording Industry Association of America earlier this week after reaching the streaming and sales equivalent of 500,000 units sold in the US. Pure Souls is part of Kanye West's Def Jam produced album Donda. Shensi has also featured on another track from the EP OK OK Part 2, which peaked on the Billboard Hot 100 at number 12. The collaboration was inspired by her freestyle at Hot 97 with Funkmaster Flex. Donda was a commercial success that gained a Grammy nomination for Album of the Year at the 64th Annual Awards. And that is it for your news roundup for today. We would appreciate you liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing the video with your family and friends. Have a good evening and see you next time.